ready, but what is that?
It's good to go when you are.
Thank you. We're waiting on Clay.
Just for the record, right? Just for the record.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Jackson County Board of County Commissioners for March 22nd, 2022. At this time, if you would please stand, Commissioner McKinney will say a prayer and then we'll do the pledge.
Pray. Father God, we just like to thank you for life, health, and strength. Father, thank you for the many blessings you bestowed upon us. And Father, we try to conduct business of the county. Ask you to be with us and guide us, that we be represent the county and the citizens and pleasing to your sight. Christ Jesus' name, we pray.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Ms. Willand?
Yes, sir. We have a few additions under section 1. We are going to add number 2, recognition and board adoption of a proclamation honoring Mr. Simon Britt's 100th birthday. And then under section 2, we've got item 1E, board approval of a right-of-way use permit, as well as number 15, request board approval to award Sandridge Church Road paving. Number 16, request board approval of change order number 1 for Sandridge Church Road. And number 17, request board approval of Endeavor Autism Building Renovations change order.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Pate, second by Commissioner Hill. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Dr. Jacqueline McMillan.
I believe that they will be on Zoom.
Fred, do you have someone on Zoom?
They're coming on now.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Board of County Commissioners, for allowing me to be here tonight. Jackson County. I am Dr. Jacqueline McMillan. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Social Work at Florida A&M University, and this will not be a long presentation. I just wanted to share with you information about our Rural Opioid Technical Assistance Grant that we are working on through FAMU's Cooperative Extension, which is funded through SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. What we offer to the rural counties in Florida is an opportunity to share with us in collaboration efforts to eradicate this opioid epidemic that we have. And I only have one statistic for you tonight. I don't want to ramble on a whole bunch of statistics, but this one is overwhelming. Over 100,000 fatalities are related to COVID. COVID, not COVID. Look, I've got COVID on my mind. To opioid overdose, opioid dependence. And these fatalities are really something that this nation is trying to fight against. So with this in mind, we are trying to disseminate information about opioid prevention to our rural counties. We are trying to put street pharmacists out of business. We are trying to provide resources that save lives in real time. We have clean syringe services, naloxone inhalers that actually help people who are about to go into situations where they can no longer breathe because they have overdosed on these medications. It gives them breath of life again. We are trying to save more lives. We can only do that when our counties, our lawmakers, our leaders come together and help us to do that. And so what we want to do is have memorandums of understanding in all of our rural counties, including Jackson County, where we can provide these services and provide training and provide technical assistance, webinars, workshops, prevention toolkits that can help our communities and help us to save more lives and enhance the well-being of the communities and our constituents. So that's why I'm here today, is to just ask for you all to join me in that participation. And another thing that we want is a recommendation for at least one educator who would be willing to be trained to also train the other educators on this information that we will provide to your county. That is my presentation for tonight.
Thank you. The agreement that you want signed, you can forward it. You can forward it over to Ms. Willan Daniels. We'll take a look at it and we'll get back with you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Willan.
Yes, so we are going to go into the proclamation of Mr. Simon Britt, and he can just stay seated. And then at the end, if he would like, we'll have him come up for a picture with the commissioners. So this is a proclamation honoring Mr. Simon Britt on his 100th birthday. Whereas Simon Britt was born on April 7th, 1922, and will celebrate his 100th birthday on April 7th, 2022. And whereas Simon Britt was happily married to Miss Mary A. Britt for more than 60 years and was blessed with 2 sons and 6 grandchildren. And whereas Simon Britt was a program assistant for the United States Department of Agriculture at Florida Agriculture and Mechanical University, FAMU. And whereas Simon Britt was one of the first African-American board members with the Soil and Water Conservation District in Jackson County, and was also an integral part of the creation of the Campbellton Browntown Park in Jackson County. And whereas Simon Britt has lived during the most eventful century of this nation's history and has enjoyed a lifetime of farming and fishing, and has been an inspiration to his family and to those who have known him. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners and citizens of Jackson County offer sincere congratulations and best wishes to Mr. Simon Britt for many more happy days in the future to share with family and friends, in witness thereof this 22nd day of March in the year of our Lord 2022.
Okay, gentlemen, would y'all like to join me? Mr. Britt, would you like to come up? Come on up. Turn around. Come right here. Here's this proclamation. Frame on your wall. Now, the only stipulation to this is that the next 100, you got to bring this one back. Thank you, sir.
The autographs, all the shit was bringing up here from. Yeah, I know it.
Well, I want to know what part of the county you live in. Mr. Britt, where do you live? Where did you grow up? Where did you grow up? Campbellton? Now, I think I'm gonna put me a water well in up there. Y'all got good water. Have a good one. Thanks for coming.
See.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Commissioner Payne.
I move to approve the proclamation and authorize the chairman to sign.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pate, a second by Commissioner McKinney. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. All right, now we're under consent agenda items.
For a motion that the consent agenda be approved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Donipro, second by Commissioner Hill. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, Ms. Susanna Gaston.
Good evening, Commissioners. We have a request for board approval of the Amendment 1 to the Envisionware Contract Addendum. It's on last agenda. and was tabled pending legal review, and this has been approved by legal.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill,
Second.
second by Commissioner Pate. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Mr. Rhett Daniels.
I'll take this one. So this is a request for board approval of an increase in the boarding fee for animal control, and this is just to match what West Florida, the Animal Control West Florida is increasing their fee to. Also, if the board would entertain just doing this to automatically increase as the shelter increases their price. It's a pass-through fee, and so we don't have to bring that back every time.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Pate that will increase the fees as the shelter increases theirs. And a second by Commissioner Hill. Any questions?
Yeah, just, I guess, as a matter of apprising the board when these increases do come into effect. Because at some point in time, I don't know if there's any options that we can look at, but we certainly ought to be made aware of that.
Is that fee daily? I mean, weekly? How is that prorated?
It's based on, if they pick up an animal, I believe it's a daily, 7 days.
They hold the
7
animal 7 days.
Yeah, but don't they set it annually?
Mhm.
They do,
Yeah, but
and we are notified.
I think you are right. I think it is a 7-day window. Mhm.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Jeffrey, AKA Jabbo Regis.
Yes, first thing I'd like to do tonight for anybody that hadn't heard anything, we do have a new assistant road and bridge director. This is Mr. Tim Perry. He's out here with his wife tonight. Tim, you wanna
Oh,
come
Timmy,
on up?
you made it.
I was looking around where?
There's so many comments in that.
We just leave that for later.
Congratulations, Timmy.
Thank you. I just want to say that I'm honored just to be able to continue to serve the citizens of Jackson County and just work alongside all your great group of folks. One thing I found since I've been doing this position is it takes everybody to make it flourish. And it's just a great group and team of people. And I just look forward to being here a very long time.
Well, wait a minute. I still don't have your cell phone
I don't
number.
either.
You make it public, you don't make it
How did he
public?
get to be permanent without him giving us his cell phone number?
Jeffrey, I'd give it out.
I refer you to my secretary so she can get it.
We look forward to working with you, Timmy. I'm sure you'll do a good job. You got a lot of great potential. All right,
All right, so now we'll move on. The first thing I've got, is a request board approval of change order and closeout documents and final pay for Bump Nose Road in Valley Oak.
got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Donifro. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Next,
Then, the next one I got is the board approval of closeout documents and final pay request for Birchwood Road drainage repair.
got a motion by Commissioner Hill,
Second.
second by Commissioner Fake. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Then, the next one is a board approval to reject bids for the Lime Rock hauling and stockpiling.
You don't do both those at one time?
It's two separate contracts, so.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner McKinney. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Next one,
Then the board approval to reject bids for the Lime Rock hauling and spread.
got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner McKinney. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. All right,
Then,
Mr. Jeffrey.
Then the next one I got is the board approval of lease extension agreements for the 10 Cat 140 graders.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Hill with questions, second by Commissioner Fate. Go ahead, Commissioner Hill.
All right, so what's the total number of months possibly, and the cost we don't have to bear?
Well, basically what this is, it's gonna be a month-to-month rental. It's gonna be a month-to-month rental at the same cost as it has been in the lease, so we won't see a price increase until the new rate is given.
So with that price, if they don't run some of the graders over the hours, I think we get really close.
I've got one that's over hours. I'm trying
Should be
to work it, so it'll maybe be the last one to get turned in and try to use the county grader and try to minimize it. This should give us, if what they're telling me is right, we should have one that should be in here in the next couple of weeks. And then
There's how many of them?
I know.
10?
there was 10 total. It seems like it was 1 in April, 7 in May, and 2 in June.
So I guess one of my basic questions is if there is another delay for any reason, are we still gonna pay that monthly rent with no penalty on hours until we acquire the next one? I mean, obviously it won't be their fault. I'm sure they want them to be here because of,
Right.
shipping delays and others, but if y'all,
Well, I've tried to, at this point, I hadn't got them to lock in to like waive any fees or nothing like that. Because right now, well, this lease runs out the 30th of the month. And
Right.
that's whenever the new ones were supposed to be.
So all of the contractual terms of the lease are the same.
Right. It's just a month-to-month rental now instead of the lease.
The hours.
well, that's what I
But
was
it
more
will-
concerned
Should
about.
go
it will
away.
allow you to get more hours. And if we
Right.
don't use the machine, because I forget what the the monthly hours you can get, so it can minimize. And like I say, right now, we've only got one that's over. So,
That'll be the first one to go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
that?
you
Well,
said it wouldn't, but that needs to be the first one to go.
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Don't it?
well,
Yes.
I was
It
trying
has
to
to be.
absorb it and let the hours.
It's
catch it.
$26 and something per hour that is over. So
So
that
that
one
is-
needs to be the first one off
Okay.
the yard, and
So-
then the next highest and the next
Unless they
highest.
waive it because.
They're not gonna waive the one you're already over.
Right. So, okay, well.
So
that
it's
was-
possibly in April. It's probably in April, that much longer to be here.
Do I-
April, when we're expecting that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
he actually told me it was supposed to be here April 2nd,
So we'll.
or in Panama City.
And you said also 7 of them potentially will be here
In May, and then 2 in June.
Any more questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Jeffrey.
And that's all I got for right now.
You gotta come back.
Jeffrey, if there's any questions though on those, on that time and all, get with them, make sure we don't get surprised.
Well, and that's what he's volunteering to me. It's not what I'm trying to pry out of him, so.
Sure.
Hunter?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. First item I have is requesting your approval of Amendment 3 to the Florida Job Growth Grant Infrastructure Grant Agreement G0054. This is extending the time frame for us to make purchases for the Autism Center equipment and supplies and training materials.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill,
Second.
second by Commissioner Donifro. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. The next item is asking for your approval of a single source purchase of equipment for the mosquito control program for the health department.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Fate, second by Commissioner McKinney. Tell them to get it going soon because there's gonna be a lot of mosquitoes. Yeah. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
The next item is asking for your approval of the closeout documents for the Sheriff's Office interior repairs. This is a certificate upon
Got a
completion.
motion by Commissioner Hill,
And authorize final payment.
Second question.
second by Commissioner Fate.
On there, we don't have a certificate for asbestos inspection on that. I noticed when we bid this out, it had a big differential between the cost of what that line item was. I just want to make sure that
Yeah, so they didn't touch any asbestos with the
I didn't
project.
find any.
No, well, they didn't have to because we had a report that identified where it was and they didn't have to touch any of that. So
Got a question.
Sure, go ahead.
As far as the closeout documents go, you've received all the warranties and guarantees that we need, and that's usually part of
yes,
roofing.
well, so the roof was separate from this, is the interior. So this is just we have a warranty on the floor, like a year. It'll cover anything that happens.
No systems that need additional warranties as part of this. I'm not that familiar with what was done.
Yeah, so it was just
Painting,
flooring, painting,
ceiling.
drywall, ceiling tiles. And there's
No new lighting or
No, there was a ceiling grid replacement, and they were putting the lights in different places, but no changes to electrical.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Yeah, this is, next item is asking for your approval of the sports tourism strategic plan contract. This was awarded officially last board meeting. This is the contract, the amount was finalized at $27,000 out of TVC funds.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, seconded by Commissioner Donifro. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, the next one is finish the discussion on the housing RFP for Cruiser Road housing developers. If there's any final comments, I tried to incorporate everything that you guys had mentioned last meeting, and if it's all good, we'll advertise this for this week.
I know I read it. I didn't reread this, but I read it the first time. When are these proposals due by?
So we're gonna do 30 days. It was over 500,000 essentially cost would be, so I think we had a tentative April 26th is the date.
This is going out national, correct?
Yes. So we have Tuesday, April 26th is the date to bids received.
You got what?
We'll advertise for like a minimum of 30 days. So that put us at Tuesday, the 26th, for proposals to be received by April 26th.
Well, I've got RFP and the deadline Thursday, June 17th.
Look at the year.
Yeah,
This is
that was
from before.
probably the highlighted portion.
Oh,
We had just finished the dates earlier today.
So Hunter,
cut and paste.
what mechanism are we using to find it? I mean, how are you soliciting the marketing agents to do this? Is it just?
So the system we have with Marcel has like these, I think it's called GIP codes or something like that. And you put your housing project and it'll trigger anybody that has that's on the market and it's a housing contractor, they'll get a notification from it. And so that system is nationwide and we'll get whatever certain amount of percentage from there. We'll send all the information to the minority businesses and women-owned businesses. That's a contact with the state and also the SBA businesses. And then we'll reach out to any, housing developer organizations we can and just.
But we don't target large groups. I mean, obviously, this is gonna be a large project, so it's gonna target really large developers.
Yes, I'm not sure what all that's out there, but we'll make sure we get it. as
So
many
this
as
is
possible.
going out what day?
So if you approve it today, it'll just go out Thursday. This is
Stay out there for 30 days.
stay out there for 30 days.
What's the cost on that for us to do that?
Just at like $50 to advertise.
Oh.
Is that what you mean?
Just, I didn't know if there was a cost for advertising, for nationwide, you're advertising. I mean, usually a lot more than that.
Is there a pre-proposal meeting where we invite any of?
We did not schedule one yet, but we can do that.
Might be a good idea to do
Well,
that, just to kind of gauge what type of interest that we're getting, so that if it gets close to the deadline, we don't have anybody that's basically indicated that they're interested in this, and we may want to extend it, or we look at how we're advertising.
So we can do that. The way our system works now, anybody that's your plan holders list online, if anybody says they're gonna participate, it's a click of a button, and we have that listing, and we can kind of communicate with them that way. But we can definitely do a pre-bid meeting if you want to.
So,
At the halfway point, let us know, give us the
Okay,
feedback.
so we'll do a pre-bid meeting for about the halfway point.
so this is the document you're going out with, but with the
The-
modifications that are in yellow.
Right.
It has the invitation to participate, pre-bid meeting and all that stuff.
So those dates are changed.
Yeah.
So
of
we
course.
would just issue an addendum because actually, the bid documents aren't posted yet, so it's just a matter of changing that language in there. The documents to reflect the pre-bid meeting for probably the 2-week time, maybe the 13th or 14th of April.
You satisfied?
We'll see. I think we need to monitor this really close, because the question certainly is, this is such a large project. Your average contractor, even GCs are not gonna be, I mean, that's the problem. Oh, I know, I'm saying,
Well,
but I mean,
I think there's gonna be more than what you think.
I hope, I just want to make sure they know about it.
Made the
I
motion.
made the motion.
And I mean, that's-
Second.
Need a second.
All right, any more questions?
I had you a second.
I didn't have a motion or a second.
I had
Either
a
way.
motion, I had you second. It don't matter.
I did, but I don't know that.
I said Paul did.
Chairman heard. Which one?
Called it on the last one. Do you want to do this?
Yeah, turn your hearing aid up. You gotta make a decision.
All right.
You gotta let me know who's second.
You do it.
Paul seconded.
Okay.
I was looking at him. He said second.
That's fine.
After, okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
And we'll get you weekly updates on the project and let you know how it's going.
All right. Carla?
Good evening, all. Good evening. This item requests board ratification of the MOU between the Jackson County School Board and the Board of County Commissioners for a promotional tourism event. The memorandum of understanding with the Jackson County School Board allows the Jackson County Tourist Development Council to utilize a bus and bus driver from the Jackson County School Board to facilitate travel for transportation services for a kayaking tourism event from Dead Lakes to the Florida Cavern State Park on March 18th and 24th.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Hill.
Second.
A second by Commissioner Donifro.
We
Any
ain't gonna try
questions?
on this side, this hearing aid.
I think they did this last year.
Yeah, they did.
They did. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Did you state your name for the record? Did y'all
Daniel
get it?
Derbyshire.
Did you get the correct spelling?
We have it.
Okay.
I know you.
Mr. Jeffrey Jabbo, register.
And the next thing I got is a request for board approval to award Sand Ridge Church Road.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill. Second by Commissioner McKinney. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
I didn't get it.
What's the anticipated length of the contract? When do they think they'll start? And when do they think that they'll?
They supposed to be getting started on it immediately.
What's the timeline on it as far as finalizing it? Do we know?
They hadn't given me a set time. I'll know whenever we go for the pre-con meeting after it's awarded.
Is that not part of the bid documents that we give them a certain amount of time? Or?
You mean? 180 days?
180 days.
Okay, Jeffrey, next one's yours too.
Okay, and the next one is a request board approval of change order number 1 for
Yeah,
Sand
we
Ridge
did.
Church
I
Road.
know.
That would be healed.
Commissioner Hill made a motion.
Second.
A second by Commissioner Donifro. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
there was one on here for board approval, right-of-way use permit.
Mhm.
What was that about?
It was under consent.
Oh, is that where it was? Well, it showed up over here.
Because they added it.
Yeah, it was,
It was added to consent.
Okay, thank you.
you want,
Just make sure Travis trims that down as much as we can. Honor,
So there's gonna be more changes to that?
there probably will be.
Changes
I'm
to
hoping.
Sand Ridge Road.
You talking about on the decrease side? not on the
Decrease,
increase?
no, we ain't going up.
Okay.
Those days are over. Honor,
This is asking for your approval of the change order number 2 for the Endeavor Autism Building Renovations project.
got a motion by Commissioner Hill. Is there a second?
Don't do on that side.
Second by Commissioner Pate.
Oh, you had to, yeah, he has to recuse himself.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0. Commissioner Donifro has to recuse himself.
Due to a conflict of interest.
He has a conflict of interest. Got that? Okay, now. Back to the public hearing. Okay, we're going into public hearing. Ms. Amber Barnes.
This is board approval to extend a development agreement for Power South Energy Corporate Cooperative. They were approved for a 190-foot telecommunications tower back in February of 9th, 2021, and they're asking for an 18-month extension.
Public hearing, public hearing.
Okay. Is there anyone here for or against that wants to speak for or against this? Fred, do you have anyone waiting?
If there's anybody that would like to speak for or against, they may use the raise hand feature on Zoom or *9 if dialed via telephone. I see no hands.
We're out of public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Pate.
thank you. I move to grant the request.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Pate. Second by
I'll second. I got a question.
Commissioner Donifro with questions. Go ahead.
Question is, it was an original 12-month construction term that was spec, and they're asking for an 18-month extension. What's the
Yes, sir.
justification?
They haven't finished the design of the tower yet, and so they're waiting for those plans to come back so they can submit them to the building services department.
If I remember correctly, there was something different about this tower
Is it 18-month total? Is it an 18-month extension past the year? Is it
extension.
It's just a 6-month extension to 18 months, or is it a total?
No, the
12
12 months is ending the end of this month.
So to clarify, are we giving them 6 additional months or
We're
14
giving them an
months?
additional 18 months.
18 months.
Also, 2.5-year project.
That's out at
Finish
the, one of the substations, isn't it?
I didn't-
I think it is, off Ford Road, if I remember
What
correctly.
district? What district is that in?
It's in mine,
Oh, yours is.
yeah. All right, any more questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Next one is board approval to change the future land use designation of 2 parcels totaling 7.87 acres from agriculture to and conservation to residential.
All right, we're in public hearing on this request. Is there anyone here to speak for or against this change? Okay. Mr. DeLong, come forward. State your name.
This is my application. I will start building the house.
State your name for the record.
name
Spell it.
Speak into the mic.
She's got to, that lady's got to record it.
Shilpan Dalal.
Go ahead.
There are 2 parts. One is on Alliance Road and the other one is at Peacock Bridge Road. Alliance Road, there are already houses around the road. This property is right on Alliance and a road frontage. I will start building homes there because we are in short supply of houses. I'm seeking your help and support with the call. Peacock Bridge Road, there is a property I just bought from my neighbor. It's there are so many houses around the property. It's at the same elevation as the Peacock Bridge Road. So I bought the property. It's about 6.5 acres, I believe. Around build 2 or 3 houses. So I wasn't aware residential, converting residential or whatever, but I will not be building more than 3 houses in the 6-acre lot. So I need your help.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? Well, we'll get them after we go out, but is there anyone else that wants to speak regarding this? Yes, sir, come forward. State your name for the record.
Jack Mason. I'm one of the residents that live right across the street from the Alliance property that he's talking about. There is an existing 8-home development neighborhood that is right across from those 2, or from that big parcel. we've been there for about 16 years.
Mhm.
So we've got some experience with the troubles that we've been having with our water system mainly. All of the existing housing that is around this area is on much larger lots. So we have basically a minimum of 2 acres per house. And so it would be really inappropriate to bring houses in there and put them on a half acre. We have heard that, you know, at one point, the land was going to be used for Dollar General. We heard that the land was going to be maybe sold to a church. And the last couple of times, we heard that there's an attempt to put a trailer park across the street. So I think with the problems that we're already having with our existing water system, all of the housing that is there, whenever it gets really dry, like it was just a couple of weeks ago, we started having quality problems with our wells. Now that we've got rain, we're back out of that condition. But I think by turning this lot into a potential of putting 12 houses, 12 wells, 12 septics, right across the street from an area and the surrounding area that have homes that are on 2-acre and 3-acre lots is really inappropriate. It would be ineffective use of the ground. So, any questions?
Not at this point. I don't have any. Fred, do you have anyone online that's for or against this?
Reminder for anybody who is for or against to use the raise hand feature on Zoom.
You want to
I
speak
see no
against?
hands raised.
All right, come back up, Mr. Chopin.
Alliance Road, I can promise the county, I will not build more than 7 houses on that lot I requested, not 9, not 10. Another thing, the county allowed to build a house. If I have just 1 acre land, I'm allowed to build 1 house in Egg 2. If I donate half acre to my son, even I'm allowed to build second one. My son is allowed to build second one. The county allows 2 houses in 1 acre lot if it's the immediate family. I'm requesting just 6 houses or 7 house permission. I'm not building 12 house or 10. I'm not gonna make it 10. I have so many people offered big money, make a mobile home park, this, that, but I decided to go with this route, building a new home from that area. There are nice, decent house there, so I'm continuing development and like that. So I'm not gonna build more than 7 houses on color. And pickup bridge, I will not build more than 3 houses, or if county restricts me 2 houses, I'm okay with that. So I can assure county about that. Even if it's residential, I'll be okay, happy.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, you want to?
Sorry.
She has to read it by title before you get out of public.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. It's an ordinance amending ordinance number 91-6, which adopted the Jackson County Comprehensive Plan to provide for the adoption of a certain small-scale future land use map amendment to the Jackson County Comprehensive Plan, providing for severability and for repeal or providing for an effective date.
Okay. We're out of public hearing now. I'm sorry, go ahead, Amber.
Sorry, I did want to let you know that the Planning Commission, they did recommend denial of this based on the proposed land use being incompatible with the surrounding existing land.
Okay. Did you have a comment you wanted to make, sir, Mr. Mason?
Yeah.
I've got a couple of questions.
From what I understand, from what the other gentleman just shared, the current zoning of that district, he would be able to build what he's talking about. So there's no need to rezone if that's what he's really intending to do. So.
Thank you. looking at this, we got a photo here, a couple of them. And I see lots along Alliance Road. How big are those lots? Who can answer that? Either one of you. Mr. Mason, you want to answer it?
Tell you what, those are both 3-acre lots. The ones that are on both sides of the New Mill Lane coming out on the Alliance. So one on the left and one on the right are both 3-acre lots.
But if you go down to where Alliance Road is, makes that curve, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 small lots, 6 small lots.
You're talking about on the west side?
I don't know which side it is. because
That's quite a ways away from this lot that we're talking about.
Oh, actually, one of them borders it.
The one on, oh, you're talking about the one that's on 71? Yeah, the one on 71 is a small lot, yes.
Yeah,
That's on
but
71, that's not-
Alliance Road is where I see all of those lots lined up.
That's on the other side of Highway 71, is what you're talking about, on this particular photo that's in the, so. But everything on the, well, not everything, but a majority of the houses right there in the vicinity of that lot is 3 and 2-acre lots. When you cross 71, that's where you get into those really, really small lots. And there's trailers over there on those really, really small lots, so.
Let's see.
So the small lots now on the west side has something on them? On the west
Are we talking about the same thing? I'm talking about this.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about west side.
You talking about that bottom picture?
Yes.
Yeah, the west side. Yeah, that's correct.
That's Peacock Bridge picture. Unless I'm looking at.
You're looking at
Oh,
on page 173.
69.
Eric, you're looking at different pictures than Peacock.
Well, I'm still looking at it on west of Alliance, the 71 on Alliance. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lots or small.
Yeah.
Now you're looking
Right.
Same thing.
Same thing. Okay. And I have a quick question for you. Are we dealing with these as one motion, or are they gonna be 2 separate asks? There's an ask on Peacock Bridge and there's an ask on Alliance.
We're doing them, I mean, we can do them both ways.
Yeah, why you separate, should probably need to be
Just for
done.
clarification, now, staff recommended approval?
No.
No? Well, it says the comment.
Staff did recommend approval because it is in the,
It says recommended,
That was
I'm looking
the
on the very
planning
last
commission.
page.
yeah, no,
the
on
planning
the,
commission recommended that. But it's in the rural village overlay, which gives a little bit more denser, denser area.
Now, which one are we talking about? We talking about Alliance, we talking about Peacock Bridge?
Both of them are. If you look at this map right here, this, pink area that's kind of drawn out at the top, that is the rural village overlay.
What page is that on?
160.
But there's already some lots that's that small on the west side.
Most of those lots out there are 1 acre.
Well, wait a minute.
I don't know why we're looking at 2 different
I'm
things.
confused.
One thing.
And I'm gonna tell you, I
Two
don't-
different requests for 2 different pieces of property.
Yes,
Yes.
but they're by the same owner.
And the request is exactly the same for both parcels.
But if you look at 160, the drawing on 160 is not the same as depicted on 169. You look, the property on 169 depicts the proposed change right above Sink Creek Lane on the opposite side. But if you look at 160, it shows that property
That's right.
on the other side of 71.
This is Peacock Bridge Road right here. There's
Yeah.
the property right there. There's the line.
Yeah,
So this right. There-
What about this?
That's the same.
The
There's it's in green.
property,
But,
Yeah.
green.
Green is what you want.
Green, okay, because it's on,
okay,
This whole piece right here.
okay. We probably need to treat these as 2 separate. Yeah, treat them as 2 separate.
But there again, just for clarification, Amber, the staff voted, or says they voted to approve.
Correct,
both?
because it's in the rural village overlay,
Okay.
but
But
the
planning and zoning
planning
did.
commission recommended denial of both
And the staff recommended approval of both.
based on it being in the rural village.
Well, my question was that it was incompatible with the surrounding existing land use. Well, every time you do something new, it's probably, not compatible with the surrounding area, especially, I don't know why the planning commission would,
There's infrastructure quality concerns out there.
I understand, yeah.
Did staff take that into consideration?
I'm sorry,
Did staff take into consideration the concern about water quality problems in the area?
we did not know about the water quality problems until
But you're pretty much saying
brought it up.
nothing else can come around there because of the.
Yeah, are you saying water quality based upon DEP
What's
or
proof
just?
of that?
I mean, just the experience of living there for 16 years.
Right.
you know.
I know, but I just asked you what kind of issues you have, and I just curiosity.
We're having quality problems. We're having quality problems with contaminants in the water. We're having quality problems with sand and debris coming in whenever the table gets low.
How deep is your well?
That's about 110 feet.
So, Amber, I'd like to treat this as two separate ones, because I think that the 2 acres up here, Mr. Payne, let Mr. Payne come back up, please. I just got a question for him. Can you come back up? Yeah, that's why. So Mr. Payne, the acreage you're talking about on the 7.87 acres, which is on, east side of 71 on Alliance, you're saying that you can build 7 homes there and you're all right with it, which is allowable now because that's 7.87 acres, is that correct?
It's 5.87.
No, it's actually 5.87.
I think
Well,
it's 2
We
total.
built 5 homes on the property that's on
Square.
Alliance.
Yeah, but look at the, on total, I see the
Yes,
total, yeah,
And
total.
then
So-
he has 2 acres that's in conservation on Peacock Ridge Road.
On northeast corner, northwest corner of intersection of Alliance and 71. There's the existing house on 0.53 acres, right over there. That's on 71, Alliance and 71, northwest corner.
So the 5.87 acres, you can basically build 6 homes, correct? Basically. I mean, that little variance of 0.13 would be,
Right, I have to keep some land idle or excess or like that, it won't be dense then, but I want to use that land.
understand.
So some lot may not be 1 acre, some lot may be 0.75, or what some lot may be 0.8. It won't be half acre, it will be bigger than half acre.
It'd be
That's what
almost
I'm
a
trying to
lot,
convey, yeah. But if I convert it to residential, it allows me to go that way. I see houses here, even outside of county, you see, in a quarter acre, half acre, everywhere. Half acre is way enough, instead of Florida, I go everywhere.
I just want to make sure.
So there's
So basically, y'all on the same page now
Jacksonville,
as on the
everywhere.
Alliance.
Outside.
You're
of
not
the
caring
country,
about so much
half
of the
acre
other
is
ones,
enough
correct?
land, but I can assure county, all the lots will be greater than 0.66, not even half. I can assure county of that. All my lots will be more than 0.66 when I divide. It won't be half acre also.
There's a house on the property on Alliance Road, right?
There's a house on.
A house, or is that a barn?
On my property.
Highway
That's a set-
71.
Yeah, there's one, but it's.
Not on 71.
Yes, sir. That's on 71.
Okay, I think we beat this horse.
So you got
Ms. Pollard, you want to say something?
I'm Jen Pollard, Planning Commission. What you're trying to do tonight is just the request board approval to change the land use designation, not to worry about how many houses are going to be built on there, because he will have to come back again and request the development order. So you're getting it all kind of tangled up that you don't need to do it tonight, because you just need to do the change it from ag and conservation to residential.
But the planning and zoning board voted to deny that. Is that correct? I mean,
I am not sure because I was gone till, February, so I'm not sure if that
Well,
occurred.
that's what, I think that's what she
Yeah.
indicated.
It did, yeah. So if we voted for it, the planning commission always studies all this stuff, and then we present it to you. So if they came up with why they wanted to deny it, then it's legit.
what was the reasoning behind the planning and zoning?
Remember,
Was that expressed? Were you there?
They felt like it was incompatible
Yeah.
because he
Like you
wanted
say,
denser.
But when you make any changes, that's incompatible with what's there. So that to me is not a good enough excuse to do that.
That was their recommendation.
Okay,
I guess I just want to make sure that Mr. Payne, it sounds like you, sir, and the gentleman, Mr. What's your last name? Mason. If he builds 1 acre lot there, you're all right with it? He can do that now. Right, I understand that. Okay.
By leaving it
His
as
concerns is the wells and stuff like that.
Right, but on the small lots.
What I'm noticing in our county, A2 is possible, there are 2 or 3 houses. County losing tax revenue. If it's a residential lot, county will have a more revenue. I'm not here to complain about those. I'm here to do everything legal. Pay tax, build right, do right. That's what my intent is. 1 acre lot, 2 houses in the county, 1 acre lot is very much possible in our county. It's a egg 2, it may be, or egg 1. We are losing a lot of tax revenue in my opinion. So if I convert to residential, county will certainly have more tax revenue, not just me, anybody else.
but we change it to residential, he can build
2 houses.
Still got a
2 houses per acre. I'm waiting,
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Pate.
I move to approve the small scale amendment, adopt the proposed ordinance, and authorize the chairman.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Pate to approve,
Second.
second by Commissioner Donifro. Any questions? All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-1. Mr. Hill is against.
We didn't look at that.
But the concern was the quality, his concern was really the quality of the water and the.
Okay.
You just don't want to.
Ms. Amber, next one's yours.
For approval to set a public hearing for a preliminary plat for Sellers Crossing. This is a proposed subdivision and it will be proposed and will be located on the south side of Highway 90, approximately 0.6 miles east of the intersection of 71 and Highway 90 in unincorporated Jackson County. They're also requesting a variance to the Jackson County Code of Ordinances, section 7491, to allow a minimum frontage to be less than 100 feet.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hill.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Donifro, and I have a question. What are they going to build out there? Single family,
Site-built single-family housing.
12 per acre.
Sir?
How many per acre?
They're going to
That's
be
what I
on,
did to apartments, but we don't.
12 dwelling units per acre.
Yeah, but that's if they have water and septic, so they don't have both.
They'll have both.
they have,
Okay, they think it's good.
they can do up to 12 per acre. So most of the lots out there are between
The
a quarter acre and 3/4
Yeah.
of an acre.
Okay, so apartments rather than single family home.
Unless they do a bunch of skinny units.
Yeah. All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Next one is board approval to set a public hearing for general development order for pack rat storage of Mariana Phase 3.
So, Mr. Chairman, April 12th.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill. Second by Commissioner McKinney. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Next is board approval for a temporary use permit for Soul Fest Music and Arts Festival. They're requesting a temporary use in order to have a festival event known as,
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill,
Known as what?
second by Commissioner Donifro.
Yeah.
And what do you want to say?
Known as what?
Known as Soul
Soul
Fest
Fest.
Music and Arts Festival, but they're requesting, they're asking for approval contingent on getting their liability insurance. So they can't get it 30 days prior to the event.
That was in the binder.
I know, but she was speaking and you were going right through it.
He's hungry.
I get a motion.
That's right.
I thought there was something there that we needed to know.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
We're gonna put
Motion
you here.
carries by
This
zero.
Liability insurance. The next one is board approval for a temporary use permit for Freedom Springs Triathlon. The event's going to be held at Blue Springs Recreation Park on July the 2nd between the hours of 7 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Donifro. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Wendy.
Thank you, Commissioner. So we are requesting board discussion and recommendations on engineering plans review. Because the county does not currently have an engineer on staff, we require the services of engineering firms to process plans review and inspections on our behalf. Consideration of advertising an RFQ for engineering services is recommended, as well as adopting a policy for fees to be paid by the developers.
So what's the amount again, Wendy? For the services that we went out for RFP on the engineer? We have one on road, it's gonna be a road, when the road, 3 of them.
Hourly basis, one, hourly basis.
Hourly.
Do you know what the rate is?
Well, there is no rate. That's why we're saying we need to go out the RFP or Q to get them to give us.
Hourly
Right.
rates, but I mean, I
All right,
would
we got a
assume that
motion by Commissioner Hill,
Second.
second by Commissioner Pate. Go out for an RFQ. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
Four to one. I think it's okay to go ahead and get out. I still have a lot of questions about whether this is actually even a required.
So it's-
Required service.
It's in the ordinances, which are in your packet. We have to have engineering reviews for things like subdivisions, roads, stormwater.
Is it a law? We have that. But I think
Well,
that's what-
it's
Well,
your
before
law
we get too
right
far
now.
away,
It's
Danielle.
it's a county ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I don't remember.
What we need
Oh.
to approve.
But I agree.
There again, I just,
Good question.
you know, on some of the, again, I'm just take Wendy's, for example. That, there was an engineer that did the site development engineering. As an engineer of record, they sign and seal those documents stating that to the best of their knowledge, if they're professional, that they're complying with all ordinances, you know, all county ordinances, city ordinances, whatever, any applicable code requirements. So it just seems like it's adding another layer of bureaucracy onto development that maybe not in all cases needs to be there.
Well, we have had this discussion in the past extensively before you got on the board. And I agree with you 200%. Once David Melvin signs and seals something, or you sign and seal something, who am I to look over it?
Exactly.
And we don't have engineers that are looking over it unless we go hire someone. But when you sign and seal something, you're responsible for it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you carry E&O insurance, to take care of those problems.
And again, you know, if you get into a situation where you've got one engineer saying one thing and another engineer saying another thing, you know,
Who's right?
But here's what we may want to do. We may want to go ahead and put this out pending changing the ordinance. Let's look at the ordinance and rectify the problem with the ordinance. If the ordinance is requiring us to do it, then
Well, the only question I would have with that, how many, doesn't this have to go for a public hearing too, once this is finished, is that all?
If you want to change the ordinance, it will. For
No,
now,
no, no.
It'll take a year or two to get it changed.
if you change up fee schedules, I think you would have.
What does our ordinance say specifically, Michelle? I mean, can you summarize it?
It's in your packet.
Is it?
Right here.
What page?
The 208.
It's highlighted in yellow where it specifically refers to the county.
David, you want to come up and comment?
Sound like a kind of a request asked at the same time.
Yes.
Which one of the three of them?
Put
Michelle,
your,
highlighted
put
for
your
us?
county hat on. Now,
No, I mean, I agree, there's some element, to me, there's some things that you always want to be represented on, to make sure that, I mean, things may meet engineering criteria, but there may be some other issues, but, you've got Brett looking at it from the water and sewer standpoint, and road and bridge looking at, how things connect and all like that. My tendency would be that, unless the project, from the staff said, we really need to have an engineer look at this, but routine, I agree with you, routine stormwater calculations and all that kind of thing. Leave that with the responsibility of the engineer that designed it. But there are some things, as far as connection, driveway to your road and site distance and all like that, that if there's a situation where staff thinks that there's a little questionable here, there's a little questionable drainage impact or something, then I'd leave yourself the option to.
Could we fashion or modify the county ordinance to allow staff to make that decision based on, the specifics of the specific
That's what I
project?
would think, yeah.
Is that doable, Michelle?
yeah, that's public.
So
Oh,
that
yeah.
not every project has to go through another engineer. They've got an engineer of record that signed off on a small development, that it doesn't have to necessarily be reviewed by another engineer before a development order can be granted,
Well, this is just for subdivisions,
just for subdivisions.
right? Well, that's what brought this up, but we do also have the requirement for, like a general development order if they're putting in stormwater and that kind of thing. Then the county engineer also reviews.
Thank you,
it.
David.
That's not in our ordinance.
So Wendy, just in your case, you know about how much this usually runs? I know the complexity of some of these gets really intense, but.
It just
have you
says
seen-
certified by
Also
engineer.
in your packet is from 2016, where we used to use the services. I don't have
Oh,
the
that's right.
page
That's right.
number.
That's right.
But there is like an older 2016 hourly rate schedule
Oh, I
from
see.
Mont
2 and
McDonald.
6. Is that
But
the
I'm
top-
sure this
top of
would
the
have gone
Mott
up.
McDonald? And the one's top, at the top of it says Mott McDonald.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Page 206.
But this, now remember, it's from 2016, so
right.
this is just an example.
Sure, absolutely.
Well,
But
how long will it take to change the ordinance? If we said, okay, we're gonna change it today, how long will it take?
About a month and a half.
Wow.
the comprehensive.
It depends
plan
on
is
when
the one
we,
that's-
yes, we have to check. the
Landscaping
comp plan.
took how many years?
If it's in the comp plan, it would take longer. Not only in the
Yeah.
ordinance, if we would, have to bring it to the planning commission for public hearing, then we would bring it back.
Oh.
So it just depends on how.
Ordinance you can do easy, comprehensive plan
Comprehensive.
takes more time.
Is this in the comp plan?
We have to check.
Check and let us know at the next meeting.
I sure will.
More questions? All right, thank you.
Do
All right.
we have a motion?
We
already
did.
voted on it.
But now that only addressed going out for bid.
All right.
We're putting it out for bid. Paul voted against.
Okay, thank you.
But at this time, we probably need to go ahead and do that. And even if we don't use them, when we staff wants another hour.
All right. Ms. Wendy,
Ready?
I'm waiting on you.
Okay, so this last item is a request for board discussion and review of FEMA flood insurance rate map and flood insurance study report for Jackson County, which includes flood hazard information for certain areas in the unincorporated areas of the county. The proposed flood hazard
determinations, if finalized, will become the basis for the floodplain management measures that the county must adopt or show evidence of having to qualify or remain qualified for the participation in the National Flood Insurance Program. The 90-day appeal period is effective March 23rd, tomorrow, which is to indicate that the proposed flood hazard determinations are scientifically or technically incorrect. Decisions to appeal or not to appeal should be filed with FEMA no later than June 21st, 2022. A final letter of determination will be sent finalizing flood hazard information presented on the revised firm, which is the flood insurance rate map and the flood insurance study. I have some information to explain to you all what all this means. So this wasn't in the packet. So this map that's up now on the board is on the FEMA website. And if you see, it's broken up into blocks. The bottom left-hand corner is the St. Andrews, St. Joseph Bays watershed. And the right is the Apalachicola and Chipola. They left that off, but. So what happened in the last couple of years is that FEMA and Northwest Florida Water Management were reviewing St. Andrews, St. Joseph, and Apalachicola. So if you will go to the next map, please, Joey. So the St. Andrews, St. Joseph Bays watershed is where they're doing a map study. I can't get it going. There we go. Okay, so if you look at the very top center, you will see a tiny bit of yellow, and you can kind of see Compass Lake in the hills. Whoops.
That's Silver Lake or
So
Compass Lake.
this area, they did letters of map revisions on, but when I talked to Mr. John Crow with Northwest Florida Water Management, who is their program manager, it's my understanding that FEMA is going to rest on this remaining. So even though they looked at this area, this is not the area in the appeal. So Joey, if you go to the next presentation, please. They're going to hold off on doing this area. So they're going to be looking at right now the southeast end for Grand Ridge, Sneeds, and it does include some of Greenwood. And so they had some open houses back in 2021, and we actually had one here at the Ag Complex in Jackson County on the 26th, and they had one in Bluntstown on the 25th. And what they did, you can go ahead and go to the next slide, please. They sat down with residents and did property lookup, insurance, letters of map change, appeals, comments. They went over all that engineering studies. Next one, please. And so these are the areas of study in that area. That's what they're kind of mapping out to be the areas that they're looking at. And that includes the Chipola watershed and Appalachian. Next one, please, Joey. And so this is kind of a map of the process. And so right now they were in the preliminary phase when they issued preliminary maps. And we got ours with the county back in 19 and 2020. And then they held meetings, and Ms. Barnes and I participated in some of the discovery meetings with water management, some of the other local communities. Then we're now in the 90-day appeal period. Once that's done, they'll resolve the appeals and finalize the maps. And then there's a 6-month compliance period. Next, please. Oh, he's ahead of me. Okay. So they sent to each community the packages, which included the updated county firm, which is the flood insurance rate map index panel, and updated panels for the community, updated flood insurance study, preliminary summary of map actions, and digital data. Next is, if you look at this map, you can see the areas of study. The blue is what they did in 2019 in a preliminary study, and the green is what they did in 2020. And so what they have now is a community outreach tool, and it helps communities understand changes to the flood maps, identifies areas of flooding increases and decreases and zone changes, produces a spatial layer that identifies at-risk structures and parcels. And there's a map coming up, and this map shows changes since the last flood insurance rate map. The gray area is no change. The red is a 1% annual increase, and the green is a 0.2% annual increase. This is around the Mill Pond. I believe that's Highway
Is that
90.
an increase in what?
In flood possibility.
The insurance rate's gonna go up 20 times.
So the next one, please. So here is what the findings were for Jackson County in the state flood hazard area for buildings. In the unincorporated area, already affected were 205 buildings in Zone A. They added 9 and they removed 2. So there's a net change of 7. And in the floodway, there were 10 buildings and they added 1. So it's not a huge change. Next, please. And this has to do with the map changes for buildings again. Buildings themselves in the blue is Zone A. They had 116,935 buildings. They added 456, but they removed 754. So there's a negative 298. And in the floodway, they had 1,114, and they added 1 and removed 1. So on the next slide, you will be able to, if you live in that area, you can go on Northwest Florida Water Management District flood portal, and you can pull up your particular piece of property and take a look at that. So this brings us to the next one, which is the appeal and comment period. And communities in these Appalachia and Chipola watersheds will have a 90-day appeal period for all changes to special flood hazard areas. And this will be published in the Federal Register as well as within the local newspaper, which was in our letter and notice that we had within a 10-day period. And the second newspaper publication will begin the 90-day appeal period. And that is what we're in now, is the appeal period. So what is an appeal? The new or revised base flood elevations are believed to be scientifically or technically incorrect. Now, when they did these studies, they have new technology. They're just not going by map lines or anything else. They're looking at flooding, they're looking at elevation, topo, all of that is considered now with their new technology. The BFEs, or base flood elevations, are scientifically incorrect if the methodology used and assumptions made in the determination of the BFEs is inappropriate or incorrect. And they're technically incorrect if the methodology was not applied correctly or was based on insufficient or poor quality data, and do not account for the effects of physical changes that have occurred in the floodplain. They're also allowing for comments, and comments would include like channel names and locations, road names and locations, and corporate limit changes. all other changes are considered to be comments. So if someone has an appeal, they can have their appeals and comments directed to the local floodplain administrator.
Who is that?
That would be me. And local communities must review all appeals and comments and make a determination to support or not to support, and that would be you. So all appeals we will send to Mr. John Crow with Northwest Florida Water Management.
This is in all counties. We're doing the same thing, all counties.
All the ones in those maps, in like Calhoun and
Washington.
Bay, but some of Washington, yes. So during the appeal process, FEMA will acknowledge the receipt of the appeals via letters, send CEOs letters and explain the resolution of appeals, and send communities updates on the flood insurance studies and the rate maps. And they won't move forward until your appeals and comments are resolved. There are scientific resolution panels. So if FEMA rejects an appeal supported by the community and submitted during the 90-day appeal and comment period, the community can ask that a scientific resolution panel be convened. And they are established to achieve the following benefits to both FEMA and communities. They offer a process deemed for neutral for all parties, and they offer the best independent scientific and technical expertise available and provide faster resolution to community challenges.
That it?
Almost. You want me to stop?
Yeah.
Can I do one thing?
Pardon?
May I share one thing?
Well, I have some questions.
Okay.
How are we going to get this out to the public?
So
Obviously, we've heard it. We know we got to go look. How do we get it to the public so they know to go look?
it is being published in the newspaper, I believe 4 times or 3 or 4 times by FEMA and Northwest Florida Water Management. Joey's going to put this on our website as
Right.
well as Dylan will be putting some of this on Facebook.
I would recommend we keep reposting that, Luann,
Yes, sir.
so that everyone,
Radio maybe?
yeah, put it on the radio.
We're gonna do it in a press release also, so it will go out to all those outlets, but I'll make sure we follow up on
Make
keep
it repetitive
recirculating.
so that, because what was the last time they did this? They had the town of Greenwood in a flood zone, all of the houses. It's crazy. So, you better look. You may be in one and not even know it.
I was gonna say, you go into this website and go on the portal, is it fairly easy to use?
It is, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, that's my question. They have it where you can zoom in on that portal to maybe a specific.
Well, I think there's a good example of it right here in the packet. Yes, sir.
What page are you on? Okay, the very, page 12.
Yes, sir. So it will,
Okay, that's good.
and they can always call our office and try to help them as well as they call Northwest Florida Water Management.
So you would be able to go to this website and look at a specific piece of property and determine whether that specific piece of property was in the flood.
So it will give you the flood zone information and the base flood elevation for that property.
So if I'm buying a piece of property in the eastern side, there's a lot of it, in the Sneeze area, a lot of it, I realize. So zoom in on that and you can take that information they provide you there and make a decision whether, I mean, 'cause that does, I mean, flood insurance. I mean, I think I think Farm Bureau and State Farm now has left Florida as far as new policies. So it kicks you over to the citizens policy, which can be tremendously expensive in some cases. So I'll be able to, I can extract that information from there and find out if that property is worth buying or selling or whatever the issue may be. Because that can greatly affect price
Now,
on market.
what you're gonna see is current, because
Right.
these rate map changes have not been adopted.
What kind of time frame if everything went,
You're looking at a 90-day appeal period plus 6 months.
okay, so 9 months.
Mhm.
So we're pushing the end of this year.
Yeah.
Okay, I just, with the
citizens also have done it with housing and stuff going on, buying a strange piece of property, then it might be a negated situation. I might purchase it now, it may affect them early next year.
Yes.
Well, I think the big thing for us is to make sure all the citizens know about it.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Do
So
everything
we
we
are
can to
pushing.
get it out.
And the information did go out to the people in those areas, and they had an opportunity to check into it.
Was it
as
like a
well.
card or a postcard? What kind of, it was a letter head or?
I'm not sure what the water management district sent out, but we did post some things ourselves, and, it was advertised. So do you want me to continue? I'm almost through.
Make it fast.
I am. I'm making it fast. So they'll send out a letter of final determination in adoption and compliance. And then once it's adopted, they can contact us or emergency management, or Northwest Florida Water Management. During the compliance period, we will get support from the Department of Emergency Management. And then during the adoption compliance period, before the rate map becomes effective, they'll send out paper copies of the firm index and firm panels and digital data. And that's on page 21 in your packets there. And then they'll revalidate it all. So I'll skip all the way down to the very last page, because the good news is Jackson County participates in the community rating system through the National Flood Insurance Program to obtain discount flood insurance rates for citizens. And our current discount rate is 15%, which is good. And we're striving to maintain that and even obtain a better rating during our current 5-year renewal cycle, which is happening right now.
Thank you, Ms. Wendy.
Thank you. Paul.
Get the rates down.
Yes, sir. Discounts up.
Okay. Anyone else have questions for her? Okay. All right. Bashford, do you have anything? Sheriff Department? No, sir. Michelle?
Nothing from me.
Luann?
I do have a couple of things. First of all, we have a C.W. Roberts request to us a notice of acquisition of GAC contractors. And because we have a contract with GAC, we'd like the board to give approval contingent on attorney review to transfer that contract to C.W. Roberts.
That's his motion. I got a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
You were right, not looking, so we didn't see the thing.
Clem,
Thank you.
did the motion, he did the second.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I'm
And-
fine with the form of this letter.
So just have them sign.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Fine.
So pending legal review.
That's already.
You already
It's
reviewed
been
it?
reviewed, so
You're happy?
it's good.
I mean, it's just a simple assignment.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
And then the other thing that, as many of you know, the commissioners know, and some staff, I did want to formally announce that we received back from the Civilian Board of Appeals their decision on our road arbitration process. And unfortunately, they have sided with FEMA to declare that all of our roads in Jackson County damaged by Hurricane Michael are ineligible for FEMA assistance. We will be putting out a very detailed press release immediately following this meeting that is pretty lengthy. It's about 7 pages long, but it chronicles from the beginning until the most recent events. And so something that I want to make sure that the citizens really understand is that basically what FEMA is saying is that there was not 1 inch of asphalt damaged as a direct result of Hurricane Michael. And so when we really put that into perspective and understand what an extreme position that is to take, whether you disagreed with some or part of our claim, to insinuate that not 1 inch of pavement was damaged by Hurricane Michael, it's an extremely disheartening and disappointing decision. I also wanted to say that we want to thank our local representatives, Senator Rubio, Senator Scott, and Representative Dunn. They all three in their own ways fought for Jackson County. They sent letters, they made phone calls. They did what they could to try to represent us well, and I want to make sure that's not lost, and that's also in the press release. And also just want to thank staff for the hard work and dedication that they all put into this. There's a lot of hurt feelings over it. And I know you all will want to make comments on it, but we're not going to let this be the end. We will figure out how to repair our roads. But unfortunately, that will not be through FEMA.
Well, I'd like to just say that Will and I are going to Tallahassee next week for a meeting. We will continue to pursue this. In addition to what FEMA had to say, we'll be pursuing other avenues because I think it's absolutely absurd for anyone. We had 1,100 sites of damage. None of them got approved. None of them, zero. That's absurd. I mean, but we'll move forward. We'll keep working it, and we'll go to Tallahassee, see what we can work out, and we'll also continue working with Senator Scott and Senator Rubio and Congressman Dunn to see what they can do to help alleviate the incompetence on this panel. And I watched them, and I am not bashful to say they were incompetent.
One of them took a nap during the proceeding.
Pardon?
One of them took a nap.
With her feet up over her head. But okay.
Yeah, if I could also just add, because I had this in my head, but I didn't write it down, that I do still stand by your decision to hire Baker Donaldson. I think that we can know we did literally everything within our power to bring a good case. And so I do not think that's in vain. I think we would have been asking ourselves, if we hadn't done that, would it have changed the outcome? And so I'm thankful.
I thought they did an outstanding job from what I saw.
I agree with what you said. I certainly agree with everything that you said, and it's ludicrous is absurd is one word to describe it. Ludicrous, unbelievable. It's just very disappointing and disheartening. And when you look at all of the evidence that they put forth, it's just unbelievable how they could have come down to that decision. It just makes me think that there's more to it than what meets the eye.
That's why we want to pursue other avenues. We're not going to give up on getting our roads fixed. And who knows, we'll keep working it. We'll keep everybody in the loop, make sure everyone's up to speed. Is that it?
That's it.
Mr. Donifro?
Well, just to follow up, and I had mentioned Caverns Road and Meadowview Estates Road right there. I've had a couple of more questions and comments, concerns about pulling out on that road. Did we hear anything?
I've turned it over to the state, and I cannot remember the woman's name I talked to, but they're gonna do a traffic study on it and get back to us.
I guess what that traffic study will involve putting some counters out there, trying to get a handle.
They should put counters. I would say they probably put them on Meadowview, Cameron Road, and then like Old Greenwood and Old US, see kind of whatever.
Just out of curiosity, what kind of timeline does that usually take for them to come back with some kind of report?
They didn't tell me, but I can reach out to them again and see where they're at.
Didn't know if we were looking at 30, 60, 90, 120 days.
They didn't know. They said they would start doing a traffic study on it. They didn't act like there was any opposition or anything to do that. Right.
If you find anything, you'll let me know. Thank you.
Anything else? Mr. Hill, Mr. Pate?
Yeah, one thing I want to bring up, and I think I've talked to Jabbo about it before, but on our contracts for these road paving, we put stuff in there on how many days, but I don't know that we've ever enforced if they go over the days.
Yes.
So we need, guess what?
We do.
Tell me how it's going and tell me what you did.
Liquidated damages. It's in there.
Yeah, no,
Old Spanish Trail.
it's in there,
Baxter
but how many
asphalt.
times have we enforced it?
The only times I'm familiar with is when you've incurred costs from your CEI, you've done it to offset that.
But we need to look at it and make sure we start doing it. I mean, we do it, just say 180 days and they drag it on out. We don't never penalize them. And I think we ought to, because I think what happens is sometimes it's just the county and they go do other things. And we need to put a little bite into it.
And that's especially.
I agree with you.
So there's some actual costs
Yes.
to us associated with
Yes.
it. And we certainly have every right to go and get those costs.
I think it's been in there. I know it's been in there, but they had, I don't know of any
There's some
time.
teeth to it.
Yeah, we need. That's it.
That's all you have?
Yep.
Commissioner McKinney?
Yeah, I have a couple of items, Mr. Reston. Yes, sir. That brush cut over in District 1, that went down last week, where are we at with it? What's the brush cutter?
Brush cut.
It went down?
It's still down. I got a call. Caterpillar. They, washing head for your machine should be in there. So whether that tracks up or not, we'll have something.
And also on the proposals for the projection of the roads, the proposals that I requested, how'd you come along with those?
We got all the measurements and all that. We're trying to build a contract to bid it out.
Okay, thanks.
That's okay. Clay? Danielle?
I just wanted to give you an amount. I was asked to determine what the balance of the CARES Act funding is, and it's to the best of mine and Carlin's ability. We have come up with that number. It's $389,574. You have $116,367 left in general revenue contingency. So the two added together will be $505,941. That's
We
what you got.
voted to move it over.
What did we have
What was
when
the
we
first
started
figure,
out?
Daniel?
What was the first figure, Daniel?
554.
He's right. What do we have? The only thing we took out of contingency was the $71,065 last meeting.
All right.
If you want to add that back.
Do you have any comments? Oh, the plant can't hear. See, Brett's not here. Status of my car rodeo. We got to get those carp out of that pond. Yeah, we ought to call him at home. I think we need to review the ordinance that's requiring the development order for events at our venues. That's been brought to my attention, that we require a development order for people that's going to be renting our facilities. We need to take a look at that.
Well, we
I
actually,
think the board should. Y'all agree?
we don't, well, I just want to clarify, we don't require a development order, we require a permit, but we actually already are doing that. Michelle is, Hunter put together a draft, I don't know if he sent it to you yet or not. To where when you rent one of our facilities, everything we need is in the rental agreement. So you don't have an additional layer of permitting or
Okay.
that sort of thing.
Streamlining.
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
hopefully with the new money we're going to get, we'll get more businesses coming,
Well-
more people coming.
We actually did start that process about a year ago, and it's because there's so many things connected to that process. It got a little, well, maybe we need to review the rental policy and the rental rates. And so I told them, let's just get it back into just getting it in the rental agreement, and then we can look at these other items, as we move
Okay.
along.
We got a thank you card from someone from the Fed Cattle. Yeah, to the county commissioners, thanking us for our participation in that project. And I would just like to let the board know, I got a letter from a lady who lives out off of Hatch Lane, thanking Johnny Wood for the good work he did cleaning out a ditch out there. He does a good job on that excavator, and he knows how to meet and deal with the public. But I just wanted y'all to know that when we get something good, we need to make sure that the employees know it, and I've already conveyed it to him. It came up this weekend, a question arose about the state budget. Granted, the governor hasn't signed off on it, but I read through that thing, and there are a couple of things in there that I want to bring to y'all's attention. And the governor still can veto it. One of the things is state workers are going to get a 5.38% pay increase. They will all go to minimum $15 an hour this year. So, and I mentioned that because that's going to have an adverse effect on us and what we have to do. Not that we're required to do it, but you don't have to be. Yes. You know, we just have to be thinking about these things. Another thing that they're talking about is gas tax suspension for the month of October. Have y'all thought about what that will do to us?
But do we know if that's gonna be our part? Or is it just the state's part?
I don't know. I'm just telling you, it's in there, put it on your radar.
Do they have jurisdiction to show?
The state, just taxes.
I know, but on our part, I think it's just a state applicable tax.
You would
But I don't
think
know.
they wouldn't.
Maybe, I don't know.
We need to.
Need to find out there.
It's a state tax and we get a share of it, right?
No, we is.
The extra cents we get are passed here
No.
locally. It's an option.
Right.
It's an option that we have under the Florida statute. I had the same question. I've already thought about that.
Okay.
But we have obligations with bonded monies too, so, that'd be very interesting to see.
Well, if you have any friends in high places or low places,
That's all mine.
check on it.
So did it stay to $20 an hour for correctional officers and fire rescue personnel?
Yeah.
Was that in there?
Yes, it's in there. No, it's passed, but it's got to be signed. All I'm telling you, I'm wanting to put this on your radar, and the governor can veto it. Take it right out.
So my question is on the bill, because I haven't read that part of the bill is there going to be some type of subsidy from the state to the counties, especially financial restrained counties? Because again, the bill passed for law enforcement to go to what, 45,000 for 45, I think 43 for corrections.
One, I thought.
Yeah, and so that, and again, I don't know, how about roughly, I've heard y'all had about 81 sworn officers with including the SRO. That sound right? 70?
Somewhere in that ballpark.
So you're, and y'all starting at somewhere around 32, 33?
Start at 32 now.
Right, so you're about $9,000 or $10,000 for each one increase. So if you do the math on that, it's simple, it's 700, 800,000.
I didn't see anything that said they were going.
The state's funding there.
Yeah, but for how long? I've heard.
Recurring.
Yeah, is it perpetual recurrence or is it 2 years? I've heard 2 years and 10 years and it phases out. I haven't read that.
Recurring.
Yeah, that's, if it is, that's good. I just wonder again, with the EMS, that's a huge increase for our EMS personnel. I think 36, I think 34 of them.
Well, I just wanted to put it on your radar, be thinking about it, keep your ears and eyes open, see what happens as it goes through the governor's office. Yes, Elaine.
Two quick things. The cart rodeo is still waiting on the permit. The gentleman did get evacuated from the Bay County fire and got behind those, so I think we can give him a little grace. And then I did want to let you all know, I did email you, but just making sure you saw it, that we are going to be able to get inmates from Jackson, CI, and Malone. So right now, we're going to get, just starting out with 4 for Road and Bridge, 2 for maintenance. It's 10 total anyway. And so we're going to put several people through the training and get that rolling. And so I want to thank Warden Scott May. He was very quick to, he actually did not know the state had authorized them to let that happen again, but he had seen it in other counties too. And I said, we've seen it. So he made a call and said that that's going to happen.
So is this where we don't need at some point reinstate our, we've done away with the budget, but so we don't have to train people that will take away, but I know we took down the budget for the actual correction officer state one to actually carry and pick up these inmates. That's something we don't have to look at again too. So.
Well,
would think for now, we
Johnny-
just get them certified
Yeah.
to do it, but next budget, we could look at that.
Johnny, Jeffrey Tiny is certified.
We don't have anybody certified now, it's only a 1-year certification.
Oh, is that right?
And, everybody.
Let it drop.
Right now.
It's a 40-hour course.
It's a 2-day course. I talked to them today, they emailed all the paperwork for the non-DSC background checks, and I think maintenance has got one to be certified. We're gonna move forward and rest. Finally, my thoughts in road and bridge. Got my countywide employee, bridge crew, tax truck, let all them be certified, because they're predominantly the ones that can use all the help. You know, they might be running the tax truck all day, or they might be working on the bridge or whatever. So we got plenty for them to do. And, right now, tentatively, the courses are set up on April 4th. To get them all certified.
Good. All right. You got anything? Anything else? We're adjourned.